In the vast blue sea lies an island, the nation of Krakoa. The spaceship heads towards the island, and Creed thinks it sounds fancy as this island was just a prison before, and now it's just a ghost town. It's heavily guarded by a bunch of sentinels, but lucky for him, the spaceship that Creed and his buddies are on allows them to use its own tech to travel cloaked and float right by them without detection. A clever way to get past these mutants who are waiting for enemies to attack. Creed decides he needs to do something about the mutants left behind on Krakoa. After making a swift and safe landing, Creed gets off the spaceship and holds the severed head of Kid Omega in a box. As he goes along, he realizes he is still not used to seeing the island from above ground after spending so much time trapped underneath it in the pit. Kid Omega blurts out, "Poor you," sarcastically to make fun of Creed, who is having first world problems. Creed is sure he didn't say his thoughts aloud and wonders how Kid Omega heard him. He thinks again. "You can hear what I'm thinking?" He waits for Kid Omega to respond. Kid Omega affirms that even in his terrible state, he is still one of the most powerful psychics there is. As they make their way through the forest and towards a hill, Creed holds Kid Omega up and asks him about the hill, questioning if he is supposed to climb it or dig through it to reach his goal. After asking Creed to shut up, Kid Omega starts to work. Light beams out of his eyes as he proves his worth to Creed. Suddenly, the hill in front of Creed opens, a gaping hole due to the lasers from Kid Omega's eyes. "Would you look at that?" says Creed as he stands amazed by the spectacle. He cautiously steps inside the hole, and Kid Omega raises a question, asking why Creed didn't tell the others what he's searching for. While making his way towards his goal, Creed responds that they only need to know who to attack when he gives the order. Kid Omega mocks him by calling him an alpha male and top dog who shows no emotion and is purely there to command. Creed confirms this as true. Creed steps inside, still holding Kid Omega, and detects the smell of metal behind a massive rock. Kid enlightens Creed by telling him that metal has no smell. It's the scent caused when flesh comes into contact with metal. Creed has had enough and tells Kid Omega to stop the lecture and move the rocks. Kid Omega says he doesn't want to, and Creed's response is simple. As long as Creed has his head, Omega has no choice. Creed clicks a button, causing great pain to Kid Omega, who moves the rocks in response, affirming that Creed is the boss now, that he knows how much power he holds over him. Back on Station 5, a woman types on a database and admits she let Victor go to the island without arguments so the others would have time to do this themselves. An old man questions if Victor knows what they're doing already. The man raises an important question. Why must he go on this mission? The woman responds that she has already tangled with their target. If he sees her, he won't talk but will fight as soon as he lays eyes on her. The old man thought Creed hated all of them, every sabertooth that exists. And the woman responds that he does, which is why she suggests he doesn't go looking like one. A red light beams, and the old man transforms into a young woman in a spacesuit with long red luscious hair. He asks the woman if his disguise is alright, but the woman doesn't seem to like it very much. The man finds this dimensional stuff very funny. In his world, she raised Graydon like her own. The woman asks if she was a good mother to him, and the man responds that she wasn't and raised him to be a sleeper cell terrorist who later blew up the White House. The woman says they've already lost two of their own. As the disguised man walks through a portal, the woman emphasizes that if they are going to take down Creed, they need reinforcements. They need to find the only person who hates Victor Creed more than they do, and his son definitely qualifies. At the maroon home base of the Exiles, the ship is in the vast blue sea, heading towards the island of Krakoa. Necra regrets bringing the children along with them, while Melter says that the children would be more afraid if they had been left somewhere else. Third Eye says that they wouldn't believe the Exiles would come back for them. Toad says that for now, their fate is their fate. If Sabertooth brings the fight on board, they will be at risk, and he won't hesitate to slaughter children. Idiot, with great anger, says that if Creed steps on board, the Exiles are to cut him down without any hesitation wherever they find him. Necra notices the anger in Idiot's voice. She sounds angrier than Necra herself. Necra didn't think it was possible for Idiot to be angrier than her. With her brows fixed in place from anger, Idiot responds that after what Creed did to Kid Omega, It's very possible she's angrier than Necra. Suddenly, the ship stops, and the people find out that the ship had been stopped to protect the passengers as they are approaching the island of Krakoa, which is surrounded by Stark sentinels who are formidable. Necra is phased, questioning how Creed got past these sentinels, and she is enlightened that his ship was cloaked. She asks if they can cloak their ship too, but is told they can't in any way avoid their detection, and that a battle with them would last 1 picosecond. That's 1/1,000,000,000th of a second. The ship is detected by a sentinel, and the people on board are shocked. Meanwhile, Creed is with his buddy at Forge's lab. By using Kid Omega's power, everything is coming up, and Creed seems quite delighted. Kid Omega isn't too cheerful and is quite disturbed by a cheerful sabertooth. As Creed looks around the place, he realizes that MacGyver fired his lab before he fled so no one could get intel out of it. As he walks through the rugged area, he lifts the box which holds the head of Kid Omega up in the air and asks him why he's leading him on a wild hunt. He threatens to spend the next few days frying Kid Omega's brain for fun, and Omega responds that he didn't lie. Creed just has to be more thoughtful, which he imagines is not his natural impulse. With a disturbing face, Creed tells Omega to be careful with what he says. As they walk through the area, Kid Omega asks Creed something everyone wants to know. Why is he going so far trying to kill off everyone Logan loves? Does Creed himself even know why he's doing this? Creed responds sternly that he knows exactly why he's doing this. It's pure hate. Nothing else. Just pure hatred and animosity towards Logan that drives Creed to do what he does. That emotion has 4 letters, I'll give you that much, says Kid Omega as his eyes glisten. Creed, with a dark look on his face, tells Kid Omega that he doesn't know what it's like to serve, to go into combat shoulder to shoulder. There's nothing like it. Not family, not friends, not lovers. It's deeper than all of that. Kid Omega says that he's battled the Phoenix Force and died more times than he can count protecting Krakoa. Creed tells him that it's not the same, and that Creed is talking about a level of connection that Kid Omega won't understand. As Creed makes his way into another place, he is taken aback to see a monster in front of him who is awaiting his arrival. Creed gets smashed back by this monster and is beyond confused. He regains his composure and yells that he thought this place was abandoned. He cannot fathom why he couldn't smell or hear this monster approaching him. Creed stands in place, stern, awaiting any attacks from this gigantic monster in front of him right now. But Creed can't seem to overpower this monster as he receives another blow right in his core. Kid Omega says that it seems Forge left a safety measure behind, and Omega is quite sure that Forge would be able to make it so the likes of Creed wouldn't be able to detect it. Creed rips the arm of the monster apart and asks Kid Omega why he didn't tell him the monster was here so he could detect its presence. Kid Omega, with a smug smile on his face, asks why he would do that. Creed rips apart the monster limb by limb, showcasing his superior strength, and as punishment for Kid Omega, he gets electrocuted by Creed. He tells Omega that the rest of the lab is empty, and Kid Omega showed him a working lab, meaning this is not the place. Kid Omega says the location is, in fact, here, but he was wrong about the location. It's not on Krakoa, it's under it, and its defenses are substantial. Creed asks Kid Omega to make contact with Station 5, and he complies. He asks the people if they are on board and tells them to respond, as now their captain is speaking, and if they don't speak up, they'll have to pay the price. Meanwhile, at Station 5, the infiltrators stand still, listening to Creed's announcement. Creed keeps asking the people on Station 5 for their status, but the infiltrators are busy with something else. On top of everything else, one of the sentinels is on the move, but the woman wonders who it's chasing. Suddenly, a figure appears from the portal. It's the old man who's holding someone in his arms. The woman asks him if the boy is him, and the old man says that he is sure. She asks the old man what's wrong with the boy's face. Meanwhile, the Sentinel will overtake the Exiles in a matter of a few minutes, and then it will terminate all mutant life it finds. The Exiles gather in a circle to make a game plan. Necra tells the ship that it didn't have to say that out loud, especially not in front of the kids. The ship asks if they should know the truth, but Necra responds that she will teach it how to talk to kids later. The ship agrees to take lessons, presuming they all aren't incinerated before that happens. Idia asks Necra if they actually have a game plan, and Necra responds that she wouldn't call it a plan. She has a supposition. She tells the ship to head for the stars. Necra had realized earlier that the Stark Sentinels were stationed around Krakoa, which means someone wanted them to guard Krakoa. She hopes that means they're on a leash, and there's only so far from the island they're allowed to stray, and that the Exiles can stay far enough ahead of them until they reach the end of that leash, until it realizes it's left a hole in the Krakoan perimeter. The ship takes off. Meanwhile, another ship approaches Krakoa. It's Wolverine. He sees that the island is under heavy guard, but there's one part of the island missing a sentry. He thinks that if he uses this route, the Sentinels won't notice him. As Wolverine makes his way towards the island, he realizes he spoke too soon as the robots attack him. Wolverine decides it's better to hit eject and nearly gets caught in the Sentinels' attack. As he makes his way deeper into the island, Wolverine detects two scents, one of Kid Omega and one of Creed. He hopes they will lead somewhere out of the Sentinels' range, who are actively following Wolverine right now. Wolverine rushes away from the Sentinels. His goal right now is to find Omega. He's a pain, but he's Wolverine's pain. He crashes into some rocks and makes a barrier between himself and the Sentinels using the rocks. Creed is angry that no one from Station 5 is responding and vows to himself that he will behead at least one of the people on board. He has to get to that base and crashes through some stuff. His eye catches a hatch. This must be what the sentry was guarding. Maybe this is how the duo can get below the surface of the island. Kid Omega expresses that there are more of Forge's sentries down there, way more than Creed can handle. Creed is caught off guard by another scent. It's Wolverine. Omega tells Creed that Wolverine is out for his blood and is about to go full-on berserker mode. Creed is happy to know. Wolverine makes his way through and admits that Creed probably knows that he's here by now. Suddenly, a weird sensation fills Wolverine's brain. Creed tells Logan that it's about time he caught up. They're on a mission and there's no time to waste. Logan tells Creed that he's here and that should be enough. He asks for the plan and learns it's smash and grab. When asked what they're grabbing, Creed responds that he can't wait for Victor to find out. Wolverine is told to smash and grab with some bad boomerangs and heavy security on their way. The mission is critical, and Wolverine has to do what he always does: hack, slash, kill, kill, kill. Logan is being brain controlled and is told there's a lab far below with an arsenal inside it. The duo needs to secure and extract the weapons, keeping them out of the wrong hands. When asked who the people are, Creed doesn't want to respond. He contends that they've killed in Nicaragua and Somalia, and the list goes on. They have killed because that's the job. Wolverine is compared to a bullet before he heads to his mission. Kid Omega picks up that Creed is pretending to play nice because he wants Logan to set off booby traps and fight any security, since Forge allowed Wolverine's biosignature access to his labs. But Omega senses that Creed is nostalgically enjoying this moment. Some things come up from the ground, and the duo is taken aback. When confused by what this is, Kid Omega reveals that these are coral missiles. Meanwhile, the Exiles think it's better to rethink their plan once again. They're not meant for Krakoa. There's zero chance they're getting past the Sentinels. Earlier, Necra had asked the ship to unload its heaviest artillery on the Sentinels. Even after being told it wouldn't make a difference, Necra insists. Necra says there's no harm in trying, and the ship assumes it should take evasive action so they all don't die. Suddenly, the ship gets attacked, and Necra tells it to dive. Suddenly, Idia gets a flash in her brain and tells the ship to go even further down the water as Sabertooth is down there. The duo gets stuck in coral spears, and Creed reminisces about the past while he's at it. Wolverine breaks through and tells Creed to follow him, just like he did in the past when the duo was, perhaps, friends. Kid Omega tells the duo that at 6,000 meters below the surface, the water pressure is roughly 6,000 pounds per inch. All it would take for the duo to die is a small tear in their suits, and they'd be pulled and crushed into juice. Creed realizes that this makes the place great to kill a depowered Wolverine, and maybe pop the top on a cold can of Kid Omega too. Kid Omega tells Creed that if anything happens to him, Wolverine will lose this Team X nostalgia dream he's conjuring for him. Suddenly, the duo is met by monsters. The Exiles tell the ship that they are leaving it here, but Necra wants it to be on standby in case they need a quick retrieval. Necra asks Idie if they can trust this vision that Idie had. The team heads inside the water, and Necra asks Idie if Kid Omega is feeding her info, how is she sure he's not feeding Creed info? Before Necra can finish her sentence, they are caught up in a trap. Melter blasts the trap away, and at Station 5, a woman is served some food. She gets angry and defeats the man, defeating the others as well before getting what she wanted. Wolverine and Creed are being beaten up by the monsters, but Wolverine reassures Creed and tells him that they've got each other's backs. Before the duo can do anything, the Exiles walk in. Toad has his hand ripped off, and he invites Wolverine to destroy the Exiles. Meanwhile, Kid Omega realizes that now is the right time, and he tries to release Wolverine from the brain control he is under right now. As Melter is about to get annihilated by Creed, Wolverine steps in and wonders what he just did. Suddenly, he gets shot down by Creed and is told that he can't heal, which means Wolverine is about to be nothing more than a bad memory.